So as some of you know, I went to Midwest Fur Fest, and that was a fucking great time. I didn't get a lot of pictures because I spent most of my time exhausted and dying on the floor, because I'm incredibly out of shape, but I did realize something that didn't quite click with me until I went to a convention after spending so much time in social VR platforms. And that was the depth of the bond with somebody you can form in social VR. No, we can have the argument all day of Neos versus Chill Out versus VR Chat and all that shit. I don't really care about that. I don't care about the platform war tribalism nonsense bullshit. I grew up through the console wars, and I still didn't care then. I don't care now. The important thing I want to talk about is the amount of people that I met in VR that just felt the same in person. And that was really interesting to me. Because I come from an age of the internet where my childhood wasn't spent in VR Chat or Neos or Chill Out. My childhood was spent in applications like IMVU and Second Life, where I met people through virtual avatars, yes, but not independently puppeted or in a virtual space. It was very much looking through a screen and seeing my friend's funny avatar. And when I first met some of those friends that I made through like Second Life and shit, it was incredibly awkward. There was a lot of anxiety and fear in relation to meeting them because all you ever knew about them was what they sounded like in Skype, maybe what they looked like on a webcam, maybe how they talked in text chat. There was no like grounded layer of interaction between people like we have in VR, where we can reach out and we can touch somebody, we can see each other in a virtual 3D space. And I did not realize how big of a fucking difference that makes. Let me tell you a story. A story of when I met a decade-long friend for the first time before either of us had gotten into VR. I was going to a party with a bunch of other friends that I knew, and they were going to be there. I was super fucking terrified. I was scared shitless. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how they would be. I didn't know, how they would act in person or how they would speak in person. None of that was on my mind because there was no frame of reference, right? All of that was a complete unknown. And so when we met, it was really fucking awkward, right? We hugged, yes, because old-time friends, but it never really got too far. Like, we never really pushed too far into being anything more than just like, oh my god, it's so happy to see you, and then immediately we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to hold a conversation, we didn't know how to have these interactions, and we didn't really know what was going on with each other. We had known each other for a decade, but we didn't even know each other's body language. We didn't know how the differences in if hands are up or heads down or anything like that. Now compare that to meeting my friends from fucking Neos at Midwest Fur Fest. A friend of mine by the name of Hop put it best. Better graphics, different avatar. And it wasn't until they said that like that I kind of realized that, holy shit, yeah. Because we're living in a day and age where the technology to be able to puppeteer, in the equivalent of motion capture, like I'm doing right now, I don't have my full body on, but you can see my hands move, my fingers move, when I flip the camera off, when I do this, when I thumbs up, when I do all that. And through the technology that I've invested into with face and eye tracking, you can see me blink, you can see me squint, you can see me smile, you can see me ah ha 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 ha, and all of that shit. And a lot of that shit transfers to real life incredibly well, because it's literally just the person you're talking to. Like, for instance, one of my friends uses full body, and you'll constantly see them standing there when we're hanging out in Neos. They're doing a little bob, they're just kind of sitting there, bebopping along, and they literally do that in person. They actually do that in person. It's literally like being in the same room as somebody. You literally feel like you're just in a session together, as cringe as it sounds. And the breakdown of that awkward interaction that I had with the Second Life friend, where we had to bridge these gaps and learn each other's body languages and understand all of that, just wasn't fucking there with these people. Because we have seen each other's body language. We know how each other reacts. We know how, we look when we're sad or when we're out of it or when we're fucking zoning out. We know all of these things, so we didn't have to relearn them. It was literally just hanging out with the homies. And that's fucking incredible. Because through this weird pile of hardware that is starting to come out, through VR headsets and shit like that, we are genuinely forming insane connections with human beings from across the world. One of the friends that went to Midwest Fur Fest was a friend of mine from the UK. It was super energetic dude. And when he sit in VR, you'll constantly see them doing they'll bounce or they'll wiggle. Or they just fucking do this dumb wow and fucking shit like that. And yeah, it's amplified in VR because in Neos, when they do it, they go wow and they scale and shit. but they literally were the same person. They were the same fucking person that I got to know through VR in person. They just looked different. They weren't a stapler. And it was fucking magical. So before you get too riled up on your horses of fuck the metaverse, fuck meta, and all this other shit, I want you to really, really think about what it's done for us and the bonds and shit it's created. Because let's be fucking real. We could meet people through a video game lobby or something like Second Life or something like IMVU or a Discord server, yeah, and you could see them on webcams and shit like that, but that doesn't compare to the level of, like, emotion that you can convey and the bond that you can form in VR. Now, as much as I think that meta has kind of low-key ruined the term of the metaverse, and the people who actually know what the fuck that's supposed to be have a long road ahead of them to try to take it back from the idiots that have turned it into a Web3 crypto scam. Because let's be real, a lot of that shit is a Web3 crypto scam, or it's some sort of massive corporation trying to elbow their way in for a shitload of money because they see a shitload of money on the table and they want in. But it doesn't matter what it's called, it doesn't matter what it's named. I want you to fucking remember what it's done for you. Because a lot of you on TikTok, I know, have quests and shit like that. And VR setups. A lot of my friends I've made through content creation in VR and met in VR. And a lot of people on YouTube I know follow and engage with content creators like Thrillseeker, who make, you know, videos and shit like that on the newest VR hardware, on the newest VR experiences. And I want more people to be a part of this, be it VR, AR, or looking through a desktop monitor. Because this has broken down so many barriers in human society that I never really thought about before. Because the thing about meeting people on the internet before is there was no, like I said, there was no way to read one another. There wasn't this, like, human connection. There wasn't this physiological connection. And there still isn't a physical connection, but through incredibly intriguing neurological and psychological phenomenons like phantom sense, we can feel people in these virtual worlds. Now, before you go into, I'll make a video on phantom sense later, because phantom sense is an incredibly interesting topic that I do want to delve deep into, because it tickles my fancy to no end to think about, you know, the psychological, like, leaps and bounds that it takes to generate phantom sense. But I suppose what I want to end this off with is social VR is fucking amazing. AR and VR is fucking amazing. Never underestimate the bonds and the friendships that you can form through these platforms and through these experiences, because in my opinion, it's just as good as meeting someone at the bar. It's just as good as meeting someone in person, because there is that entire breakdown of you are just the same person that I hang out with. It's just like my friend said, better graphics, different avatar. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please toss a follow, subscription, whatever the fuck you want. I don't know what I'm uploading this to. Is it TikTok? Is it YouTube? Is it both? But, you know, engage with it. Leave a comment. I definitely want you to leave a comment, because I want in the comments of wherever this is, I want your experiences. I want to hear about the friends that you've made. I want to hear about the people that you've grown bonds with, the relationships you formed. I mean, for fuck's sake, my partner I met through Neos VR, and I fucking love them to death. And we got to meet in person at the convention, and we still love each other to death because we're just the same fucking people. Just better graphics, different avatar. I kind of want to make that stick. Better graphics, different avatar. Every time you see a friend of yours that you've met in VR in real life, fucking think about that shit. Better graphics, different avatar. Anyhow, thank you so much. I love all you guys, and I will catch you later. Peace.